Today I want to talk about forgiveness. So people may have different idea or understanding of what forgiveness means. But actually what forgiveness means is to be able to let go of whatever that has been not so good that happened to us, either through situations or people, or maybe certain places where we were victimized or anything like that. Something that either we did or something happened to us or something happened because of the way things were, or someone deliberately or unintentionally caused harm, and we need to work on that level of acceptance for the situation for what it is, so that we can move on from it and let go of the consequences, however those situations, events, ideas, people has affected us, harmed us, hurt us, created sadness or any kind of destruction in our life, to be able to come to terms with it, to be able to accept that yes, this is what has happened, instead of denying what happened, at the same time taking it for what it is and fully understanding and processing what happened. And final and most important thing is to let go of whatever the consequences were that we experienced because of those events or situations or people. The letting go is the main part, what forgiveness is all about. How to do that? And like I mentioned, it can only happen with coming to a level of understanding the situation or the person or ourselves and the dynamics that played out for what it is. As in, let's say you got into a situation without knowing what it is, and it turned toxic, and you were abused, exploited. Maybe you even went through financial crisis or anything like that, and you come to a point of very weak point or even hit rock bottom. A lot of people do not have the strength inside them to pick themselves up and get out after that. Why? Because first, we cannot forgive ourselves that we got into those kind of situations. We live in denial. We cannot accept that this has happened to us. In order to deny that kind of pain or harm or crisis or all the damage that the situation has brought, in order to tell ourselves, our ego, to stay in a delusion so that ego doesn't fall apart. All healing involves ego falling apart, actually. But all the lives that people live are all about preserving that ego and desperately trying it to not fall apart. Unfortunately, it's the opposite. So, people trying to live in a certain denial that this is not what it is, this is not what happened to me, this is not what is happening, that is not how it is. So we get into this narrative of explanations or justifications, or because we cannot accept the fact that we got ourselves into that situation, and that has caused this crisis or harm or damage or destruction or loss or suffering. In order to tell ourselves that, oh, I did not do any mistake, no, I did not participate in it, no, I have no role to play in it, you keep your ego satisfied, which keeps you from first of all accepting that you played a role in it. You are in it, right? Which means you are part of it, which means you played some role in it. Some capacity you have participated in it, which has resulted in this consequences. First and foremost is to come to terms with that kind of level of truth about we are in it. We are not outside. We are in it. Why? Because we are literally going through the consequences of it, the after effects of it, which means we are in it. You want to deny, You will not heal as long as you are denying. So we tell ourselves we are in it, and that hits with a lot of realizations about what did I do, or what are my behaviors or belief systems or attitudes or my own understanding of my personality and self, my self-esteem and my self-respect, my boundaries, my everything about us is an inner journey. Don't ever forget that. What happens outside is always a consequence of what we are on the inside. You cannot run away from it. So you pay attention to all that information that's here about you, which has somehow played a role in this difficult situation that you put yourself in. Once, it will take some time, depending on how much you know of yourself, your awareness, your capacity to digest the truth. Seeing the truth is one thing, and then instead of shutting down and denying it, accepting it fully, understanding it. Okay, it's a huge process. It takes a lot of inner strength. So depending on that, it will take some time. Depending on your own personal strength, it will take some time to see it for what it is. Why you should see your own role in it, first of all, because then you start taking ownership. And once you start taking ownership and responsibility for the role you played in it, whatever has put you in that situation, you will be, initially you may be angry, you may reject yourself. You may reject parts of yourself, because that are those, just like you are rejecting the reality to keep the ego intact, you may reject the part of yourself that has put you in this situation. Maybe you are naive. Maybe you believed somebody you should not believe. Maybe you saw the red flags, but you did not pay attention to them. Maybe there was somebody you thought you could rely and they are not good. Maybe you followed somebody's advice because you trust them and their advice has worked before, but this time it has not worked. So instead of blaming somebody else, if we develop the inner strength to see that we played a part in it, and some kind of belief, attitude, cultural upbringing, or some kind of self-esteem or personality aspect, qualities in us that has put us in this situation. Once you see things like that, without rejecting or shutting down those qualities or personality aspects within you, those played a real role in it, in you putting in this situation. That takes another level of strength, because now the attention is not only towards the situation and the consequences and the damage that caused, and the ego that was destroyed in the part. You paid attention to what role you play, what has drawn you towards that kind of situation, so that you learn. Why? So that you can prevent those kind of situations from having to happen to you again. The longer you keep denying, the longer you run away from taking responsibility, the longer you run away from accepting, loving and forgiving your own self first, which means you will never heal, which means you will keep living the same kind of patterns over and over and over again. You are busy blaming others, you're busy pointing fingers, you're busy holding on to the ego telling you, hey, you have to work on yourself, holding on to the personality, your heart telling, hey, you have to work on yourself. You shut down. You want to run away from all of this and live like a zombie. Well, you are at the freedom to do so, but don't come back to yourself, because you will eventually come back to yourself. You will. There is no other way out of this life without coming back to yourself. You want to live a life of escapism? You live as long as you want. It is still an escape. Escaping from what? The reality of this. The reality of who you are and what has put you in those situations. So you can keep living in escapism. until there will always come a point, sooner or later, where you will come back to paying attention to exactly where you should be paying attention to. There is no escape. People think they can escape from reality forever. They can escape from healing forever. That's another level of denial. So, we come back to who we are and what has happened with us, why we put ourselves in those situations, what has happened, what has caused this, at least to our own understanding, so that we can finally take ownership for what we did. When, again, that hits very hard, it will take a lot of time again to process and understand and dismantle certain destructive beliefs and attitudes and systems and personality traits and work on them and all this. That is why healing takes time, but it's worth it. So this is part of self-forgiveness, because after you come to a level of acceptance of who your own self is and what has caused all this and all this, you will come to an acceptance of those things in you, which means now you will actively, like I mentioned in the acceptance and self-acceptance videos, you come to a place of, okay, so this is what has happened, but I am pretty sure I can work on this. It's not a do or die situation. Certain things within me, certain beliefs within me has caused this situation to happen. So I will work on it so that I can empower myself in the next time, so that I won't have to face these kind of issues again. This has happened, this has broken me, this has hurt me, this has dismantled my ego, this has traumatized me, but there is a sense of ownership, love and acceptance for who you are that helps you forgive yourself first for putting yourself in that situation. Because anything, this is a huge world, anything can happen where we become victimized in one way, shape or form. That's part of life. So instead of running away from it, if we can see in the role we played, whether we are truly helpless or whether we played some active role in it, it helps you come to a level of forgiveness for yourself. I forgive myself because this has happened and I played certain role in it, and I now see it very clearly what role I played in it, and whatever has happened, it's over now. But I don't blame myself. I don't blame others too. This has happened. This is what has orchestrated by the divine. So I can learn something about myself, learn something about the world, learn something about the situation, and move ahead. So self-forgiveness is the first step. Then you move to forgiving, like I said, forgiving the situation. It has happened. You have been in certain difficult, damaging situations. Some are very destructive. But you work on it. You completely see it for what it is. You have to see things for what they are, without assuming, without judgment, without running away, escapism, without deluding yourself. No delusions and dismantling and denials and all that. You have to see how it all played out, how other situations or other people or everything involved has happened, how what happened with you, and you put everything like a movie. You put everything, you place it all in place, and you see it completely for how it played out. And you try to put pieces together, because something has fallen apart here and you are trying to find out what has happened, so that you can arrive at a place where you can forgive yourself, forgive the situation, forgive people involved in it, work on yourself and move on. Move on. Let go. Because once you do that, whatever has happened, how many years it might have taken, you will never look back. And that's the beauty and power of forgiveness. You will never look back again, and you will never put yourself in that situation again, ever. That's the beauty of being who you are and forgiving and looking things for what they are, fully, truthfully. That's how powerful forgiveness is. People in this world are desperately holding on, attaching to everything and anything. They don't realize that there is true power in letting go of things that are not helpful for us, that are not bringing out the best in us, that are not helping us love and forgive ourselves and love and forgive others and move on. Freedom here in the inside, freedom here in the mind. People look on the outside physical world a lot of times for freedom and attachment, and that's how they fail. All freedom is within you, but you have to work on it. It's your own job, but it helps you. It's really worth it. So forgiveness gives this inner freedom because there is a lot of heaviness, pain, loss, suffering, judgment, and all these negative emotions and all the blood, sweat, and tears you went through because of something or because somebody, because of your own self, okay, because of your traumas or your own destructive patterns and habits and attitudes. You are able to look at them, work on them, take ownership and forgive yourself. Accept yourself, and then you see the situation, forgive it and accept it. You will arrive at that point. It may take some time, but you will arrive if you're doing the work, if you're doing the real work inside of you, working on your own self, improving, cutting out what's not good and building certain healthy relationship with yourself first. And once you arrive at all this, you will forgive whatever has happened to you. You will forgive the situation. You will forgive yourself. And once you are able to fully do it, you are free. Like I said, there are parts of yourself that has caused this situation or you participated and played a role in it. Those parts are now worked on, which means they are healing. And once you forgive others instead of busy blaming everything for everybody else instead of ownership. Once you forgive what has happened, because you cannot change what has happened, right? But you can finally come to an arrival and conclude, give yourself a closure by looking at the truth for what it is. And whoever is involved in it, whatever is involved in it, you forgive it. You say, I am no longer holding on to whatever this situation has brought into my life. Because whatever it has brought, it has been very painful, destructive, okay, damaging, and it has caused a lot of heaviness and burdens into my life. So by not letting those burdens drown me, I am releasing, I am lightening the load of myself. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually actually. Once you do that, to yourself, situation, people involved, everything, you are free. All the burdens are able to lift off and you are able to kindly, gently, lovingly let go of the situation. Because whatever the situation has brought into your life, you made peace with it. You forgave it, remember? You arrived at a level of acceptance where you forgave everything and everybody involved in it. So, which means you gave up all the burdens, the problems, everything that the situation has caused on you. Now that you freed yourself of it, this forgiveness will now pave a way for you to make different choices. You will start a new way of living, a new way of being, because something has changed in you, because you worked on it, you healed. And that will help you be different, do different, choose differently. And that's the power of forgiveness. If you do it the right way, if you do it fully without cutting corners, if you really immerse in it and do all the inner work that is necessary, it will free you from all that these situations have brought into your life. If we are needing forgiveness, it means the situation has already burdened us a lot. So whatever it has brought a lot of problems, difficulties, pain, suffering, loss, challenges, and all these damaging things. So to be able to slowly work on it enough to let go of all of it, you are freeing yourself of all the suffering that this has caused. And you arrive at a point where you no longer worry about what it has caused you, but you have freed yourself enough to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And instead of looking back to what has happened and what is happening and blaming and getting busy, stuck in the same situation years and decades later, you are freeing yourself so that now you, instead of looking back and sitting in the rut and getting stuck, you are finally looking up and looking forward to what's next. Because you are no longer burdened by what has caused something and what has happened. It's behind you now. And you don't even waste your energy looking back. You are now looking forward. And that whatever has happened doesn't mean people or situations, whatever has happened is okay or tolerable or acceptable. No. Let's say abuse has happened. Let's say heavy exploitation has happened. So forgiveness doesn't say the other person will change or situations will change or whatever they did was okay. None of that. What has happened may not be okay. The people involved in situations will not change because it is not under your control. You changing is in your control. Don't be deluded about situations will change or people involved will change. That's not your problem. It's their business. But you empower yourself to say, this already happened. So what to do with it? So this is what it is. What to do with it is to process and heal enough to come to a point of forgiveness where you let go. Because you have no control over what happens to you or who does what to you. And it has already happened. So no, you fix it by fixing what parts in you has participated in it and what has happened to you, and you say, okay, so this has happened. Okay, fine. This is all happened. Okay, why? Very good. I processed. I worked on it. It's called purging in spiritual sense. So I purged off everything, as in to say, slowly but surely letting go of anything that has been participating in this kind of destructive patterns. That is what self-healing means. So once you heal enough, you arrive at a point of forgiveness where everything is behind you. What these people do now is none of your business. What situations are happening to other people now is also none of your business. Because you see, you are there, situation is there, and people involved are there. You have only control on yourself. So you worked on the one aspect which you have total control and authority over. You take responsibility, you worked on it, you healed and moved on. It's none of your business, none of your problem, whether everybody else involved in it and all the other situations that they are in are healed or not, because that's not your problem. Because they have to do their own work. If they refuse to do, it's their problem. But you, by working on yourself and forgiving yourself and everything and everybody that participated in it, you gave yourself the power to never be influenced by the people and the situations that has brought you into those situations before. Now, you will not go back to that kind of crap again. You will not put yourself in such situations again. Those people will be there and those situations will be there because they are not working on themselves. It's their problem. But unlike before, where you were drawn into those situations because of your own unhealed parts. Now that you are healed and you are looking forward instead of backwards, getting stuck in damaging situations and consequences of the drama, you are able to not be drawn to those kind of situations or people luring you into those kind of situations again. Those things will not tempt you anymore. If you don't think that's powerful, I don't know what you are. To me, this is the powerful thing about being human, being healed, being aware of who we are and who we are not. Because then we forgive and love ourselves enough that we don't put ourselves into crappy situations like those ever again. That is what true self-esteem and true self-respect does, and that comes with healing. We learn to forgive ourselves first and then others. That's why forgiveness is powerful.